our day of action to save net neutrality. My name is Dennis Apuan, and I welcome you all to our rally this afternoon. Right now, our free and open internet is under attack. President Trump's FCC chairman, Ajit Pai, a former Verizon lawyer, announced plans in April to undo net neutrality rules. This would change the internet as we know it. But we have the opportunity to protect our speech and privacy on the internet and tell the FCC and big cable like AT&T, Comcast, and Verizon to back off. This afternoon, we have lined up a great number of voices to speak against the pushback against net neutrality. I would like to call on our first speaker. He is with the NAACP State Conference, and he is the Sergeant at Arms. He is also a staff member of Positive Impact, and he is going to talk about how net neutrality impacts communities of color. Would you all please welcome Kevin Mitchell.
As I sat down to think about what I was going to say today, I spoke with a comrade and I asked him what he felt. And his response was, "It is whatever. I read anyway. The net really isn't a tool for me." Then he proceeded to ask me why I was so bothered by it. And my response is, I read too, but I also gain a lot of information from the net. And the net being open right now, I can go seek what I require without being guarded. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So I proceeded to break it down even further to him and reminded him once upon a time when they tried to dumb us down before. I liken it to the slave times when the master would withhold learning, reading, and things that would further your education from slaves. Because you cannot keep a person a slave if they become aware, if they became knowledgeable, if they gain power within themselves by learning. So what I told him was, yes, you may not use the net, but there's a lot of us that do. There are your children that use that as a tool in school and need an open net. They need to be able to go where they need to go and search for what they need to search without Big Brother telling them you can't go there because that's not allowed. We don't like that site, so you can no longer go to that site. You can't listen to that music because we don't like that music. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I proceeded, I told him a story because he still kind of looked at me. I was a student at a community college and I used to work in the library. I worked proudly in the library. It was one of my goals in life to work in the library because I love to read. And I believe it is essential to learning and it's essential to knowledge. But as I graduated, the school president decided that it was more beneficial to downsize the library because it wasn't modern enough. And funny enough, as they took the books off the shelves, it seemed like it was mostly really knowledgeable things that they were taking away. Not that you can't learn from fiction, but you need all genre of books. It seemed like they were taking away some of the essentials, the know-how, computer skills, automotive skills, history. That was a sad day for me. It broke my heart because all there was left was, and I'm not criticizing it, but here's the book on Scooby-Doo. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. This is what you can read because it's safe for you to read it. Yeah. And make no mistake, that's what they're doing here with the internet. Yeah. Because it's so vast that you can learn so much and you can use this great tool gain a higher knowledge and higher learning. And you will be aware, and you can always see where they're coming from. They don't want you to see where they're coming from, so they're trying to dumb you down. Let's call it what it is. They're trying to call you, dumb it down, so they can put us all back on the plantation. So we stand here today, and we're here to say, we're not gonna go easy into the night, my friends. We're not gonna go easy into the night. You will not take our tools, you will not take our brain power away from us. We will not be dumbed down, and we will not revisit that slave mentality. We would not revisit that plantation, my people. I refuse. Right on. All power to the people.
Thank you, Kevin, for your very heartfelt remarks. Thank you. Please welcome Gary Fornander.
Thank you. Common Cause is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. The battle for net neutrality is a battle for the future of democracy. We organize for social change online. We debate issues through social media. And we voters inform ourselves online. Universal, affordable access to the internet is essential for our 21st century democracy. Unfortunately, we are not just engaged in a battle. We are engaged in a long-running war against those who want to make the internet their corporate profit center. Common Cause has been in the center of this fight from the beginning. The fight for net neutrality goes back at least 14 years, when internet providers first began attempts to control access to the web to boost their profits. The Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, has a spotty record on protecting the public. It has been up to citizens and public policy groups, up to us, to fight the corporations. More recently, in 2014, the FCC proposed rules that would have allowed providers like Verizon and Comcast and AT&T to charge content providers to provide higher speeds. The public, again, we the citizens, responded with nearly 4 million comments to the FCC, almost all of them supporting the open internet. The citizen action caused the FCC to reverse course in 2015 and adopt strong rules. We, the citizens, also fought down attempts of Congress to change those rules. Citizens' actions can prevail. Unfortunately, the new administration and new control of the FCC, using discredited so-called research, has proposed reversing these rules. Once again, the public comments are running overwhelmingly in favor of an open internet. A brand new poll just released this week shows that 77% of Americans, including 73% of Republicans, support keeping the existing net neutrality rules in place. It is the internet providers such as Verizon and Comcast and AT&T and the politicians they wine and dine and shower with campaign contributions who are opposed. These corporations have deep pockets and armies of lobbyists. We do have allies from the corporate world. Currently, Amazon and Facebook, for example. But we can't trust the corporations that are on our side now to win the fight for us. It is up to us, the citizens. We have work to do. Colorado Senator Cory Gardner is on the Senate committee with jurisdiction over the FCC. We need to let Senator Gardner and all our congressional representatives know of our support for net neutrality. Again, we are engaged in a battle and a long war. Common Cause is fighting with you. We need to win this battle. That is what today is about. Make your voices heard. We have won before. Let's keep it up.
Thank you, Gary Fornander.
Hi, everybody. In addition to working with ACLU and Justice and Peace Commission for several years, I've spent about 25 years studying broadband communications network technology, and it's really funny to watch what has happened over that time period. Franklin Roosevelt created the FCC back in the 1930s, and the goal of the Federal Communications Commission was supposed to be equal access to radio, television, and eventually what was not dreamed of in the 30s, the internet. Well, we probably noticed even prior to the 90s that all those fairness doctrines and equal time for people slowly got chipped away by the courts. But then the World Wide Web was invented in the first term of the Clinton administration, and during Clinton, Bush, and Trump administrations, the FCC has always been solely in the hands of the Verizons, the AT&Ts, the Comcasts of the world. There was a brief period of time in the Obama administration where public pressure forced a consideration by the FCC for equal access once again, going back to those FDR days. But that was just a brief moment of light. It's 25 years of preferring corporate access. Now, the FCC chairman in the Bush era was Colin Powell's son, Michael Powell, who later went on to become the chief lobbyist of the Cable TV Association, which he remains today. But at least Michael allowed us how there might be another opinion out there and would engage a little bit with others. The current FCC chairman, Ajit Pai, fits very well with the Trump administration way of doing things, because Pai is a former counsel for Verizon Corporation, and he will brook no notion of dissent that the goals of the biggest internet service providers should be the goals of all of us. When a reporter for Congressional Roll Call questioned him during the May 18th hearings, Pai had 2 policemen pin the reporter against the wall. He is regularly taking biased, paid-for comments into the FCC from customers of Comcast and Verizon, and he is denying or minimizing the notion that we have any right to say anything about this. Now, what does this all mean in practice? It used to be back in the Bush era that the big companies wanted to stop bandwidth hogs for video and that kind of thing. But you know, everybody in theory can get access to video and audio content today. The problem now is that corporate control of the means of accessing the internet equals corporate control of the content. You know, sooner or later, that is bound to happen. And the kind of things Kevin was mentioning about what you can listen to, what you can watch, what you can see. Musicians, video artists now have access to sites like Bandcamp and SoundCloud. As consolidation and control of access gets tighter and tighter, everybody's going to have to sign up for Tidal or Rhapsody or something else. And this means the marginal musician or video artist now who can barely make a profit trying to make art in the community will no longer have their voices heard at all, because the opportunity will not even exist. A perfect example has just popped up this week. A new site is opened called theglobaljukebox.org, which represents the lifelong work of Alan Lomax, a guy who went around the world in the 1930s and 40s collecting recordings of forgotten people all over the South Pacific, Africa, Asia, everywhere. They opened the Global Jukebox so that you could pick and choose to hear a song from a Hungarian indigenous group or a Fiji South Pacific group, anything. But that requires GoFundMe type funding and control from the bottom up. Sooner or later, if we have this kind of access, Taylor Swift and Jay-Z for Tidal Corporation will determine whether we get to hear the Global Jukebox at all. And that is what we're talking about today. So I hope everybody joins us in trying to alleviate this problem.
Thank you, Noreen. If you noticed, he was wearing a piece of blue duct tape over his mouth earlier, which is about silencing our voices. She is the organizing director of the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU of Colorado, one of the national endorsers of this Day of Action. Please welcome Alejandra Garza.
Thank you so much. Now, I don't want to repeat a lot of what has been mentioned already, but net neutrality is vital for all of us. It's a very unsexy phrase but with severe implications for every one of us. If you think this topic does not affect you, it does. Corporations will be able to make money off of what you want to see on the internet. Now, right now, the internet is one of the most democratic, open spaces we still have in our country. And yet there are people who view a way to monetize this community, this exchange of ideas, who want to put a price on it. And that should scare us all. The fact that this will affect our ability to exchange ideas, the fact that it will be able to the fact that it will affect our nonprofit organizations, our civil resistance movements, our burgeoning sources of media, our upstarts, our blogs, our new media sources that are being thought of every day should scare us, because nonprofits, citizen activists, new media sources, they do not have the deep pockets to compete in a pay-to-play world. That should concern all of us. The job of these companies should be to deliver information, not to censor and charge us for the delivery of that information. The ACLU is very concerned about this, but we take great comfort and have hope because of what was accomplished in 2015, where millions of people rose and spoke out against this, and we're asking you to do it again. Do it now. Contact the FCC. They are asking for people's comments on this. Please go. If you spend any time at all on your smartphone, if you spend any time at all on your computer, on your laptop, on your technology device, this will affect you, and you need to speak out. This is wrong, and this is just an example of people wanting to make money off of what should be an open exchange, an open place to exchange ideas. So we are proud to participate. We are proud to stand here with our brothers and sisters who are fighting for a free, open, and democratic exchange of ideas, especially now when so many people are watching what is going on in our country and organizing and talking and speaking out. This is the worst possible moment for this idea to hatch. And so we're asking people, don't just complain about it. Don't just say, oh, it's a foregone conclusion. No, speak out. Speak out today. Tell your friends to. Tell your family. Tell everyone you know that net neutrality will affect all of us. And we all need to rise up again together and speak out to stop it, because we can stop it and we will stop it. But it's going to take every one of us. So go to the website of the FCC and make a comment, because it will affect all of us. And we should all be very scared, but we can fight back. It is not too late. We have done it once before, and we need everyone to do it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandra Garza, for joining us here in Colorado Springs.
Thank you. Although I am the Chief Librarian and CEO of the Pikes Peak Library District, I am not here to speak on behalf of our nearly 500 employees and the hundreds of thousands of people that we serve. I am here to speak on behalf of the nearly 60,000 members of the American Library Association and the hundreds of millions of people that they serve in public school and academic libraries. Net neutrality, although it wasn't called that at the time, was a founding principle of the internet, and it is now core to the concept of intellectual freedom, the right of all people to seek and receive information from all points of view without restriction in a digital age. Intellectual freedom is critical to our democracy because we rely on people's ability to inform themselves. The internet connects people of diverse geographical, political, or ideological origins, greatly enhancing everyone's ability to share and to inform both themselves and others. Libraries' long-standing commitments to freedom of expression in the realm of content is absolute. In the context of the net neutrality debate, it is equally important to stress that the freedom of libraries and librarians to provide innovative new kinds of information services will be central to the growth and development of our democratic culture. A world in which librarians and other non-commercial enterprises are of necessity limited to the internet's slow lanes, while high-definition movies can obtain preferential treatment, overlooks the central priority for a democratic society. the necessity of enabling educators, librarians, and in fact every one of us to inform themselves and each other just as much as the major commercial and media interests can inform them. The ability of the internet to spread and share ideas is only getting better. With modern technology, anyone can produce rich audio, video resources that used to be the exclusive domain of large companies. We must work to ensure that these resources are not relegated to second-class delivery on the internet, or else the intellectual freedoms fostered by the internet will be destroyed. Net neutrality is the concept of online non-discrimination. It is the principle that citizens should be free to get access to or to provide the internet content and services they wish, and that consumer access should not be decided based on the nature or the source of that content or service. There are few things that have changed libraries as much as the internet, and few things that have had such an impact on our ability to provide access to the vast wealth of human knowledge, art, culture, and creation. Access to this is fundamental to who we are as a country and who we want to become. Financial ability and wealth should never be allowed to decide who is allowed to coast through unchallenged on the information superhighway and who is forced into the congested slow lane of information delivery. The American Library Association stands firmly against any efforts to weaken net neutrality and the core principle of our democracy, intellectual freedom. Thank you.
Donald Trump's attack on our civil liberties continues, and now your access to the internet is being threatened. 30 years ago, the internet was primarily a tool used by the government. Today, it has become a staple for all Americans. Unfortunately, Ajit Pai, Trump's appointed chair of the FCC, is preparing to allow large cable companies to restrict our use of the internet while charging us extra fees. It is easy for us to think of the internet as a tool for social media, finding recipes, and sharing cute animal photos with our friends. But it's much more than that. The internet is the reason our children are more culturally aware than their parents. It facilitates learning and new advancement by everyday people, and promotes social activism among communities that have never had the ability to have their voices heard. Donald Trump and Ajit Pai both know the power of the internet holds when it comes to organizing. This is what scares them so much. The amount of organizing and activism against them that has erupted online is a dire threat to Trump's administration, so they want to put an end to it. That's why a huge coalition of progressive organizations are joining forces to fight the rollback of net neutrality. Today, we are making calls to Congress, urging them to take a stand against the FCC chair, protect free speech, and keep the internet open for everyone. Communication is the bedrock that enables us to push for social justice everywhere. We will not let President Trump's appointee overturn net neutrality protections. In this crucial time, we need net neutrality more than ever and defend the future of our democracy. Our marches, vigils, petitions, and calls to action depend on organizing an open internet. The open internet is a space where all of us, no matter the content of our beliefs, the color of our skin, or the size of our wallets, have an equal voice. A threat to net neutrality is a threat to the free exchange of ideas that creative culture and an informed public rely on. Furthermore, communities of color across the United States depend on an open internet to thrive. From resisting police violence to demanding fair wages, The political voice and economic opportunity that the internet enables must remain protected by Title II of net neutrality. Trump's FCC seeks to wall these communities off from the power of the internet as a mobilizing tool and an equalizer. We stand together with activists, communities of color, advocacy groups, tech companies to preserve democracy by defending the internet. Protecting the internet can be a tricky concept to grasp. The internet itself is not going away. It's the ability to access the internet that the Trump administration wants to restrict. This will leave social justice organizations open to discrimination by both the FCC and big businesses that are negatively impacted by their activism. Many more depend on the web to communicate and bring together members from all across our communities and the country, putting an end to their ability to openly express or to openly access the internet is an underhanded attack on our communities. The fight for net neutrality was a long, hard fight battle that we won before. We can win again. Thank you for stepping up today to protect the free and open internet. And I want to thank our speakers for having your voices heard. Thank you all for coming to our Day of Action